Hey, Katie and Kat here with your Mindful Mindset this week, where we are going to be talking about connection and how we use a hummingbird actually to represent that.
Yes. So the hummingbird is full of symbolism and meaning, including joy, healing, good luck, messages from angels, and other special qualities. Keep your hummingbird jewelry close as a personal reminder of the deep connection the meaning of the bird holds for you. So cute.
Yes, and I love the hummingbirds that we use. Like you can see them on the necklace and the threaders here, but they're little 3D silver hummingbirds. So the hummingbird, actually, I remember this was one of our first designs that we started incorporating the mindsets with, because when I was coming up with this design, I remember I had some requests from customers, and when they would buy it and then leave reviews or tell me about it, sometimes in those transactions, it was actually used to represent like their sometimes like deceased relatives or something. Like the hummingbird was like kind of symbolic of that, like them still being with you. And so if you had someone pass away and you see a hummingbird, and so that's kind of, it was like one of those first seeds that got me thinking about, again, yes, jewelry. I love jewelry designing, but I feel like there's more here and we could do more with that. And so that's, again, this is one of those first cards that we created, because I was like, this design is so beautiful and it's so cute, but the people who are, a lot of the people purchasing this are, that's the real reason. It's not just, oh, I love hummingbirds. Sometimes it is, which again is great, but it was for like these very deep and symbolic meanings.
That's so sweet.
And that's, so it's like really interesting to look back, because again, sometimes people ask like that evolution from where we used to be the spotlight jewelry to WonderLight Jewelry with the affirmations and the mindsets. They're like, how did that happen? I think it was like just little instances like that where I just felt that, again, that guidance, that intuition of being like, hey, like, the jewelry is like, it's meant for more than this, and just like bringing that to life. But this is like one of the first ones.
Yes, pre-WonderLight.
Yes, a little hummingbird design with, and so that's why too, I think I was like, what mindset can I use that again kind of pulls in those elements? And I think that's why we decided on the connection. It's connection, to yourself, nature, your loved ones, like kind of like all that beauty and everything.
I love that. And I think connection is a really cool mindset, because when I think of mindfulness, I don't necessarily think of connection. I think of confidence and abundance and all of these different things, intuition.
Yes.
But I think in the last year, I've had more connection in my life than I have probably since high school. And so I'm curious, with your personality, you're definitely more outgoing, and I'm more of an introvert.
Yeah,
and so
extrovert, introvert.
It's very easy for me to just like, I'm good at home. I can be by myself. That is fine. I have my little circle, and I'm just curious, like, I know that's not necessarily how you are. Does connection seem to come easier to you? Do you feel connected on a regular basis?
Yeah, I think, and it's so funny because again, it's like it's the other sides of the coin. So I absolutely feel connected to other humans. That is, again, just very natural, very easy, almost to like a fault, where people are like, Kat, you're going out to the woods with this person you met yesterday all by yourself. And I'm like, what? Like, we had a great connection. Like, they're fine. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's just how I just assume the good in everyone. My mother worries about me a lot because of it. But so far, like in my life, like that has just been my lived experiences, that humans are good. I love trusting them. I love opening up to them. I love learning from them. So it is interesting though, because I also think a part of connection is not only like our connection to others, but in some ways also like our connection to ourselves.
Interesting.
Which I think we've talked about. Like, I feel like you are a little more tapped into that in some ways. Like, that's really hard for me to be by myself and be okay with that and be happy and feel completely at ease and comfortable in that situation. for whatever, I'm like, it's just harder for me. Like, I never want to be by myself. I don't like to drive by myself. Like, I do it. I have podcasts. I go on walks. I listen to stuff. Like, it's fine. And I can try to enjoy it. Like, if the kids and everyone are out, like, I can have a book. And but for the most part, it's like, not only just like, even like I enjoy like one-on-one things a lot. But like, I really love, like, I'm always the more the merrier. Like, we plan a vacation and Sean is like, okay, cool, let's go. And I'm like, oh, who else are we inviting? And he's like, why do we? And I'm like, I promise it's not like there's anything. I love hanging out as just a family or just with you and going on date nights. But I will always, I just get that. Again, it's the extrovert. Like, I get energy from other people being around. So I don't feel that connection quite as strong to myself, though, which I'm trying to work on. So, Katie, what are some things you do, and do you kind of like relate on that level? Like, how do you feel? How does connection work with you in your life, and maybe not even with others, but maybe more like yourself?
Yeah. So with others, I definitely have a small circle. It takes me a long time to really feel safe and comfortable with people. And I don't know if that's just like past experiences or that's just my personality, a combination of both.
Always nature and nurture.
No idea. But with myself, I think that just comes naturally. If I don't want to be around a lot of people, I'm going to be myself. And so I've had a lot of time to think about me. And that like sounds kind of silly, but
no, it's beautiful.
And sometimes with anxiety, that is not a good thing. Sometimes sitting by myself, it just turns into me getting in my head, and that's when things start to spiral. But if I can have control of that, and if I'm doing something that keeps my anxiety at bay and keeps my mind focused on something in order to be by myself, then that helps. And there's a lot of things that have gone into that, lots of therapy and like retraining my brain to be okay with things and how to think through the anxious thoughts. That helps a lot. And so then I'm fine. Like I can be by myself, and I do really well by myself. And I love being in the office. That's one example, is I love being with my team and all my friends here. But I also get so much done by myself at home. And so I think that goes into a lot of things, whether I'm working or cleaning or whatever. If I'm by myself, just it feels so natural and so safe and totally comfortable.
Nice.
But
what do you think? I think we've talked about this a little before, and I can't remember. Remind me, like, this is, again, still something to this day, like my therapist are like trying to get me to work on and understand a little more, but it's like your connection to your body. Like, tell me more about that, like your experience with that. Because I feel like this, again, that mindset of connection is, yes, absolutely, like connection to others, connection to self, but connection to almost like body, you know?
So many things. So I love to work out. No one can tell, but I do.
That's not true. I've seen your muscles, Katie.
It's for me, not for anybody else. But I love being able to just I love feeling that strength and feeling myself get stronger. And it's something that I can totally be in the zone, and I'm doing something for me and improving something to myself. And so having that like mind-body connection helps me with anxiety again. But it helps me because I know what my body feels like. I know how my body reacts. And so if I start feeling my heart start to race a little, then I know, okay, I need to take some deep breaths. I need to stop what I'm doing. And I know how my body feels and what that means. And it's like it's like a different person. If my mind and my essence is over here and my physical body is over here, it's like a relationship with a friend where my body is struggling and I am starting to feel anxious, or I'm starting to feel this, and my mind, I can help do something. I can do like some tapping, or I can take a bath. I can do these things that helps my body to feel how it needs to feel. And so it's hard because sometimes I struggle with that relationship, because it's like, okay, why is my body doing this? My body's so dumb. It's like
being hard
overreacting and being hard on it because health and issues. And so trying to love that body as it is anyway, and being gentle and loving. Like, you're doing the best that you can. You're doing so much. Thank you, body. I love you, body. Like, that's hard, but so much better than it was. But treating it like somebody else, or like a pet, or a whatever. That sounds weird, but
a friend.
You're my little buddy.
It's like a relation. You have a relationship with your body that we don't always put in that context.
Yeah. Like, if you don't know how to listen to your body, you're not going to be able to work with it as well.
Yeah.
In my mind.
There's this, that's what like someone said, like even like money mindset stuff sometimes, like we have like these relationships, and a relationship isn't like, it's not tangible. It's almost just like thoughts and words, and again, like manifestation on all of this stuff. But like if I read a book, I think it was the You're a Bad A book by Jen Sincero, or one of them, she talked about this, but it's like, how do you feel about money? Like, act like you're writing a love letter to money. Like, what would you say? And she gave like some examples, and she was like, and so when you frame it that way in your mind, you're like, oh, like, I love you, but I also like, I feel so guilty when you're around me. Like, I feel like it's just not a good thing, and I'm a bad person whenever you're with me. And if I have too much of you, it makes me even worse. And so it's like, when you're listening to it, you're like again, if that was a person you were talking to, and I was like, oh, Katie, like whenever you're with me, it's really great, but I'm always terrified you're gonna leave me.
But I also hate it.
Yeah, so I hate that too. And it's like, it's just so like, you can recognize how unhealthy that is when it's like in a person, but we don't associate it that way with the way that we think about these other things, a money mindset, or the way we relate to our body. But those exact thoughts of like, oh, like, yeah, body, you're great, but only when you're doing what I want you to. Like, if you were in a relationship with a person, they'd be like, yeah, that's a little toxic. You probably shouldn't be with that person. But that's how we like think about and interact with some of those things. So again, I loved how you kind of like brought that up in that context of like our connection to our body and how it can be like that.
I love that you brought that up though, because when I sit here and I read connection, I automatically think of people.
Yes.
And so I didn't even think of like relationships with yourself and with ideas. Like, that's cool. That's a good point.
I like it because again, connection. Yeah, it's such a good. I'm like, oh, I need to wear my hummingbird stuff more. I'm like really into connection right now. It's so good.
Just need to wear all of the earrings and necklaces.
We also we didn't even talk about like connection like to the earth, or like our kind of like our environments and like what that looks like. So
whole other podcast.
All the good things with hummingbirds and connection. So
I love that. Okay, well, our affirmation is, I feel close to the beauty and reminders around me.
Lovely. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week, and we'll see you next week for another mindset.